All right, I believe we are live. How's it going, guys? I am Josh, and today we're going to do our second live photo review. I was going to say our, it's mine, whatever you want to call it. We are part of this. If you're watching this, thank you so much. If you're watching this after it's already been posted, not live, you're missing out on a lot of fun comments. So hopefully you can catch the next one. So we are going to review your photos on Instagram today, and a couple details I want to go over before we actually get into the reviewing. So first of all, yes, we're going to talk about reviewing your photos, critiquing, and the goal is to be a productive information session for everyone. So I want to talk about what's going to make your photos better, what I don't like, what I do like, and hopefully everyone can improve out of this. That's the one main goal. Got some good wrinkles over here, whatever. Secondly, if you're wondering how to submit your photos, all you have to do is post your Instagram in the comments in the live chat, and I'll be pulling out random ones to review. And ideally, you can also include the two things. If you look in the description of this live stream, you'll see what I'm looking for. I'd like you to post your Instagrams, and then also on the Instagram post, ideally, maybe in the live chat too, include the shot that you want reviewed on your Instagram, if there's a particular one. And secondly, the camera settings you shot this with and all the equipment you use. So all of that is going to be super helpful for me so I can critique not just how the photo came out, but how you got to what you took and all that good stuff. And the last thing I want to say before we jump into this, and welcome to everyone that just joined me, last thing I want to say is last time we did this, it was an insane amount of submissions for Instagrams, and I might not be able to get to all of them. I won't be able to get to all of them. So for those of you who are willing to use the super chat feature to make a small donation to show you're serious about this and support me, I will support you in return, and I will guarantee you that I will review anyone who makes a super chat submission because it's super helpful for me. I do this for a living, but you don't have to make a super chat submission to be reviewed. I'm just going to prioritize those. So with all of that, guys, thank you everyone for joining me. Let's get this going. Got a bunch of Instagrams. So I'm going to start off with the people who came early, who, as a thank you, were hanging out all today, submitting their Instagrams. And the first one we've got, let's flip the screen. All right, actually, one more thing I want to say. Sorry for the fake out. The last preface I have before we get into this is reviewing photography. Photography is ridiculously subjective. So something that I might like, you might hate, and the opposite way around. So if you guys are kind of iffy on my photo taste, that's totally okay. If you want to see if I'm any good, you can check out my Instagram. I'll put a link to it in the chat. I also have a website full of all this good stuff. It's joshkatz.me. So I'll put a link to my website where you can see all my photos. We might have different styles. So anyway, if I'm not giving you opinions that you think make you a little angry or you might disagree with, then I'm not giving you real solid opinions. So let's get this going with that preface. All right, first photo, we've got one from, I'm not even going to bother trying to pronounce this. And I think they asked me to review their first photo. And thank you, by the way, for the super chat submission. So this photo, wow. First of all, let's just say this is really beautiful. I'm going to hit him with a like because why not? They shot this right around golden hour, right before sunset. And as you can see, you have that really nice shadow coming from the kid. They've got all this good action in the photo from the birds. And the only thoughts I have on what could have made this better. So first of all, you have in the top left-hand corner all this really cool action with look like cool rock structures. And they seem a little bit cut off. So maybe giving them a little bit more room could be really cool. And the only other thing is just, and I know I said this a lot in my last one, you gotta watch your horizon line. So it's okay to take a crooked photo if it looks deliberately crooked, but if you look at the line between the ocean and the sky, it looks just a little bit off, and that gets me. Just maybe it's a me thing, but I'm not a huge fan of that. So it's like a really easy fix, but all in all, like they killed this shot. It's absolutely beautiful. And just glancing at all this other work, I think that's really one of your standout shots. So anyway, thank you so much for submitting, and let's get some more work reviewed. Thank you so much to Sam Smith for the super chat donations. and there's someone else too. Just trying to keep up with all this. Oh, wow, you guys are amazing. There's a couple of them. D. Lown, Sam Smith, Eamon, Halloran, you guys are all awesome. Let me ask you guys a question. I was thinking about, just to make this a little interesting, reviewing some of my own photos on my Instagram. What do you guys think of that? Would you be interested in that, or do you just want me to review your work? I totally understand either way. Anyway, let's get reviewing more photos. And also, anyone who's new to this, welcome. And Sam Smith, if you could hit me with your Instagram name. You made the donation, but I can't see your Instagram name. Let me know so I can review your photos. And yeah, let's get this cruising again. All right. Okay. Oh, this is gonna be a fun one, guys. All right. So this next one is from PNW Snap. Thank you so much for the super chat, by the way. Really appreciate your support. And you can see they've got some really, really sick locations. I am a sucker for waterfalls. Landscape photography is totally my thing. Let's look at. Let's take a look at this one. Okay, so a couple things. They used a slow shutter speed to get. If you look at the water, you see that looks like it's perfectly dragged out. Like all these, the waterfall is super smoothed out, and the trick to doing that is using a super slow shutter speed. And sometimes you can even do this. Well, because it's in a forest, it was probably fairly dark, and they didn't need to use a neutral density filter. If this were bright out, you can do this with like waterfalls with lots of sun using a neutral density filter. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. But what I like about this is that they have the balance between this guy and the waterfall, and they're kept at the identical heights. As well as he used a slow shutter speed, yet he still froze his friend, the subject, really nicely. So I think that's super awesome. What can we do to make this better? So one thing I don't like, and again, my opinion, but I don't like the way the subject is dressed. So he's wearing basketball shorts, and he doesn't look like, and maybe even skate shoes, doesn't look like someone who's hiking, and like, it just sort of strikes me as something that's a little bit out of place. Personally, I like shooting people when I'm doing hiking photos. I would like people to be like dressed up with like a hiker's backpack and like, water bottle, all that whole operation, because it kind of fits with like the naturey and, the bright colors too of all those hiking clothes. That's maybe just a personal thing, but I think that's like one of those nice touches that really adds to the photo. But otherwise, man, I think a lot of your work is super solid, and yeah, keep exploring, because half the battle, guys, sometimes in photography is just getting to the location. So he's doing that. Let's see, find some more to review. And for anyone who's new, welcome. We're gonna be doing another live photo review, having lots of fun with this so far. And if you want to submit, just toss your Instagram in the chat, and I guarantee I will submit anyone. I will review anyone who makes a donation, because you guys are hooking me up, so I'd like to hook you up. All right, so George Tucker, thank you very much for the euros. Let's review your shots. All right, load this page up. It's really fun, I gotta say, guys. I was nervous that I couldn't do this, doing like a live photo review, because it is sort of a lot of pressure just to pull up a guy's page, have 2.5 seconds to look at it, and then suddenly dive in and start talking about why it could be better. It's a process. But anyway, let's do it anyway. All right. So next off, we have George Tucker. Let's cruise through this feed a little bit. So he is clearly like a real photographer. Lots of cool, compelling work. Okay, let's pick something that's a little bit different. What's the deal with this one? This is cool. Okay. I'm not sure what this is, so I'm not going to really talk about it, but some neat bokeh here. A little, very saturated. Not going to say oversaturated, but it's very saturated. Okay, let's talk about this photo. So, it's very abstract. I don't know exactly. It looks like it's maybe a rock going into the water, and then they flip the photo upside down. And they also had a really heavy vignetting. So, a couple things. First, I think that the coloring is really nice on this, and he clearly is kind of trying to go for this feel of like confusion. And I think he strikes that really nicely. Um, and I also think that sometimes flipping your photos upside down, especially when there's a reflection in it, is a really great way to get like a cool feel for it and just sort of. Well, here, let me show you. You know, I'm not even gonna bother pulling up my photos. I don't have the time right now. But if you take a photo that has a perfect reflection, flipping it upside down can just make it like seem like a little off, which is cool. And anyway, the one thing I don't like is I think that they use a little too much of a vignetting on it. And for those of you who don't know, if you see the corners are kind of blacked out, that's from vignetting, and you can do that really easily in Lightroom and Photoshop. And I think the trick is a little bit of vignetting adds a nice focus onto the center of the photo. Too much vignetting is when you notice that it's been vignetted. Vignetted, I don't know if that's a verb, but if it's noticeable, like obvious they put it on, you might be overdoing it. So subtlety is definitely the move here. Okay, let's review more photos. And anyone who's new, welcome to the live chat and welcome to the internet. This is a crazy thing. We're reviewing people's photos on the spot. And yes, so let's see. And also, if anyone makes a donation and I for some reason can't find your Instagram or you didn't include it in the donation, super chat, thank you. I really appreciate it and I will be reviewing your photos. But if I don't get to it, you can email me and I guarantee you I will. You made the donation, so I want to hook everyone up. So email me if I didn't get to your photo by the end of this hour, and I will. I'll email you a little critique, and it might be a little even more in depth. So maybe it's in your best interest for me not to get to your photo today, or maybe I don't know what I'm saying. All right. Thank you so much. Wow, a bunch of these are coming in. Emily Noble, you're amazing. Thank you so much for donating. D. Lown, Dragon, and Delir, thank you guys so much. I will be getting to your photos very soon. So let's talk about Emily's photos as soon as her page loads. I think live streaming actually kills my internet speeds, so pulling up Instagrams might take a second, but give me a minute. Okay, Emily Photography 24. Let's talk about your photography 24. Okay. All right, so lots of vibrant colors, a little bit of long exposure action. Oh wow, this is beautiful. You know what? The photo I want to talk about, this one caught my eye just now. I want to talk about this. So great composition method in photography, leading lines. The trick to having a good photo is having a good composition that actually sends your eye throughout the photo, and having lines that guide your eye are the perfect way to do that. So you'll see you have these two yellow stripes, road dividers that send your eye right into the center of the photo. Now, a couple things that can make this photo a little stronger, or not even. Sometimes when I speculate on composition, guys, here's my big preface: is it's hard to know what could and couldn't be done, what is and isn't there. So I'm just gonna, hopefully say things that could potentially have been done. So what I would always do is you have this nice two yellow lines leading your eye. I would experiment with different heights. So she got really low, and more than half of the photo is the road, which isn't as exciting, I would say, as these beautiful tall trees you have, which perfectly frame the roadway. So I would potentially stand up a little bit higher in the photo and have maybe you can implement the rule of thirds. Right now it's split 50-50 road trees. I would maybe try and do 1/3 road and still have the nice yellow line forming these cool triangles that you have here. In the bottom third of the photo, then 2/3 trees. A little more traditional, I'd say, but I think that traditional is a good way to go sometimes. And yeah, Emily, thank you so much for submitting, and let's talk about more art. Okay. Oh, here's something interesting. A little bit of black and white operation. Let's go to my man Julian is Nard74. We're going to talk about your photos in 1 second as soon as I pull up a few more Instagrams. And for anyone who's new, thank you guys so much for joining me. We're going to be doing a bunch of photo reviews today. I think I'm going to go until 5 p.m., maybe a little later. We'll see how it goes. And that's 45 more minutes. So we've got a bunch of photos to review. Hopefully I don't blow it. Hopefully you guys make cool submissions and we all have a lot of fun. Isn't that lovely? All right. So next Instagram, we've got one from Julian Isnard74. Okay, and 35 millimeter. So I'm assuming these are all film, which, I really respect. I personally shoot a lot of digital and only digital. I've experimented with film before. But I found digital is my medium because I like to be really, I like to over perfect my photos and be meticulous with every single detail. And I found that it's harder to do in film. So I have so much respect for anyone that does. So, okay, these are nice. This one's a little bit boring, but this one, I'm intrigued. Okay. You know what's caught my eye the most? I'm going to say I really like these macro style flower shots. I really like the bokeh in the background. And for those of you who don't know, bokeh is when light is out of focus. It turns into these nice little circles or octagons or hexagons. I'm sure you've seen this before, where it looks really beautiful. And basically the trick to getting good bokeh, I have a whole tutorial on this called Bokeh Photography for Beginners, if anyone's curious. But if you want to know, the basic trick is just using a very wide aperture or low aperture number. And Julian has clearly hit on this. Yeah, and also the photo's a little bit noisy, which is, that nice film look. Something I want to say is you can also emulate noise. Is something you can add in Lightroom to your photos. And sometimes it does give a digital photo a little more texture and makes it feel older, and it's a good look. Let's see. Thoughts on how he could improve? Trying to figure out if the tree or if the flowers are sharp. The flower is decently sharp, yeah. I don't know. I think that really the only thing that can make this photo stronger is just more composition or more compositional elements that sort of let you know exactly what you're supposed to look at. Because you see there's a couple of things that are in focus here. Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying, guys. I think this is a beautiful photo, and I'm gonna stop rambling. So, all right, real quick, guys. You sort of just saw what can happen. This is my fear of doing these live photo reviews. Is like sometimes I just will mess up and not know entirely what to say. But hopefully, I gave you guys a couple insights with everything, and thanks for bearing with me. And guys, thank you so much for the super chats. I will be getting to all your photos very soon. Okay, we have a really exciting one coming up now that I'm hyped to talk about. This one is from 148 Media. Thank you so much for the super chat and for submitting your photos. So, all right, this is sick. Wow, all these look really cool. Hold on, let me just kind of cruise through this full Instagram really quick. All right, so this is a man that clearly knows what he's doing with his camera. It's pretty obvious. But let's talk about this image. So, a couple things. For those of you who are wondering how he did this, he one used a tripod, and two then used a slow shutter speed to drag out the arriving train or metro platform, Calgary Transit. All right, cool. And had his friends stay still during that photo, which looks super cool. A couple things. So first of all, one thing that could be interesting to try, and you know what? Like I want to say here, like Dylan Zach clearly knows what he's doing, and I'm gonna make suggestions on thoughts that could make this even more interesting, but this is a really strong image, so I don't want to actually critique it too much. Another thing I really like is if you look in the bottom left-hand corner, see how the platform corner aligns with the center, the corner of the photo. That is one of my favorite things in photos because it just makes for a really nice balance. It's the leading line, and when you can hit multiple lines that align with your corners, like look in the top left and you also have the train line coming through there. That makes for a really, really nice leading line. So clear understanding of composition here that I really like. Something that could be really interesting that I challenge you to try, Zach, or Dylan, is take a portrait of friends. And studio lights can make this even more interesting. But try taking portraits of your friends more zoomed in with just the slow shutter speed in the background, or just the train in the background. None of the contextual stuff of the platform edge and such. Just your friend and the blurred lines or the dragged out lines. I think that could look really, really cool. But yeah, super cool work. Dylan, thank you so much for submitting. And thank you everyone for submitting. This is sick. You guys have so much cool work, and I love looking through it all. So let's get some more Instagrams going. Okay. Samuel A. Smith. Let's talk about the Milky Way. All right. I'm very into that. And for anyone who's new, welcome. You can submit your photos in the live chat. And yeah, that's kind of it. All details on submitting photos in the description of this live stream. And for those of you who are joining me not live, make it here next time because you might get your photo reviewed. Yeah. All right. So let's talk about. Yes. All right. We're going to talk about the Milky Way. All right. So Samuel A. Smith, first of all, thank you very much for submitting and taking really cool shots. Okay. Wow. These are really, really cool. All right, let's talk about this. Looks like the best image on the page. It really catches my eye. So as far as capturing the Milky Way goes, he nailed it. That is the Milky Way. You're staring right at it. It's saying what's up, and it's looking sexy as ever. So really, really sick stuff. And he has his friend holding a what looks like a flashlight or a headlamp. I can't really tell. Pointed up, which is a common thing you see in Milky Way photography. And real quick, if you guys want to follow the best Milky Way photography account on Instagram, it's called Milky Way Chasers. It's going to inspire the heck out of you, and the photos are ridiculous. So, all right, he did a really great job. He followed all the lunar calendar stuff and aligned his subject to be perfectly there with the Milky Way. The only little suggestion I have for stepping this image up is see how your friend gets cut off by the rocks in the silhouette, and assuming those are rocks, so you can only see him waist up, and seeing the human silhouette waist up is honestly, in my opinion, sometimes a little confusing. I mean, it's obviously a person, but if you're gonna silhouette someone, I think you should try and capture their entire body. So you could always frame him up by having him stand on top of the rocks, or maybe you getting lower so that the rocks aren't covering his torso. Anything like that, I think would make the image a little bit stronger, but this is already a really, really sick image, so I don't have too much to say about it. And back to my face. Okay. Samuel, thank you so much for submitting. Really love looking at your stuff. Love looking at all you guys' stuff. I really, really enjoy this. I've been thinking about doing this every week. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Would you like to see this every week? Will you get sick of me? You want me to do this for the rest of my life every second? Let me know. Let me know in the live stream. All right, let's get some more photos going. All right. Austin Cox, thank you so much for the super chat submission. You're the man, as well as everyone who's making these submissions. I mean, you guys are all, supporting me doing what I love, which is the coolest thing ever. It's a huge honor that you guys would want to hear me riff on your photos and maybe even say negative things about them. So thank you so much, and let's return the favor and talk about your art. All right, so Austin Cox. We've got a visual stimulator and a photographer here. All right, and he's into the hype Instagram stuff with the dangling feet. I've tried this before. It's a lot of fun. You also have to be confident with your feet in certain positions. This one is not as good as this one. I think sometimes the feet shouldn't be in an image, and this is one of those circumstances where it looks like you were on your back to shoot these. that's kind of strange. They're better when they're just casually dangling like this, even though no one actually sits like that. But yeah, I mean, this one's really sick. Um, This is super cool. All right, yeah, this is my favorite image on your page, just at first glance. You have these really nice shapes and lines, and oh man, triangles are just, triangles are excellent, and having geometric shapes in any photo is a really great, easy way to add like some solid, sort of guidance, and it's just very, it's almost fulfilling to see a certain shape in an image, just because it's structure. It's structure in an image, nicely centered, and yeah, they've got some really nice dark darks and some white whites. The only thing I would suggest, and this is really just personal preference here, just a small little tweak. I would play with the whites and the blacks in Lightroom when you're editing this photo, and potentially bring the blacks even lower to make it even more dramatic. But it's clearly already a pretty high contrast image, and also upping the whites a little bit could add a little more oomph to it. But like, this is a solid image. This guy clearly knows what he's doing. So yeah, Austin Cox, great work. Thank you so much for submitting. And back to my face. Okay. Who is next? All right, Dalton Stevens, thank you so much for the submission. You are the man. Everyone here who is just hanging out with me right now is the man. And yeah, thank you guys all so much for joining me. Man, I see how, I know I said this last time too, but live streaming is kind of addicting. And I think a lot of people get really sucked into it and do it for extended hours. I don't entirely know how that works with like people saving their voices. I feel like I can only go an hour or else my voice will just be obliterated tomorrow. And you can kind of hear it already. But yeah. Okay, so let's jump back into it, guys. And real quick, for anyone who's joining me, welcome to the live stream. For those of you who've been with me the entire time, thank you for dealing with me saying this every 10 minutes, but we're getting a lot of new viewers, I imagine. And yeah, I just want to say all details on how to submit your own photos are in the description of this live stream. And if I don't have the chance to review anyone who made a donation in Super Chat, send me an email with your Instagram, and I'll return the favor. Anyway, Dalton Stevens, and I'll respond back to your email, of course, reviewing your stuff. So, Dalton Stevens, photographer. All right, so he's got a logo. He's not messing around, clearly. And, oh, wow. This is some cool stuff. Jeez. All right. This is definitely one of my favorite Instagrams I've seen so far. Huh. Wow. Okay. So, this photo, and I think there's a few more here, like this one. It's clearly shot in a studio. They've got a really nice backdrop, which is all black, and lighting. It's top notch. So in this photo, lighting isn't my expertise, but I'm pretty sure there's a fill light to the lady's left, our right, and then behind her there's a light. So you see how her hair is sort of like white. That's just the fill or backlighting. Probably messing up the technical terms. I'm not really a big in-studio photographer. I've only messed with it a little bit. But yeah, this is beautiful. I mean, what I really like about this is between the front and the back light, you have this dark area. And that just really makes for a dramatic feel. And I imagine that someone who's shooting this knows that, because this person clearly knows what they're doing. And the model just looks totally badass. So super, super cool. Man, some product shots too, which is neat. Yeah, super professional. They have like the acrylic reflection, which is a key to a quality product shot. Here, I can show you guys a little sneak peek at, you know what, I can't. It's being reviewed for a brand video I'm doing. Never mind. I'm working with Axe right now, and I did a little photo tutorial for them on product photography. Keep an eye out for that because it'll come out in the next probably week or so. But yeah, I tried my hand at product photography, which is sort of something new for me, but it's always super fun to experiment with a new field. All right, let's see who we should review next. All right. Let's see. Imagine film. Phone only. All right, this is gonna be interesting. This person supposedly only shoots with their phone, which is cool. I respect that. I think that you can take really great photos with an iPhone. I do it all the time. I don't mean to say I take great photos all the time. I'm saying that I love shooting photos with just my iPhone. And you can take take great photos with any piece of camera equipment ever. Okay, so imagine film. The screen. And just so you guys know, whenever I hit this button to flip the screen, know that I've taken at most 2 seconds glance at each of these Instagrams, and I have no idea what I'm going to say necessarily. So mind me while I stall for half a second and observe all this very cool work. Wow, so this is not just photography. This is digital art. Are they making all this themselves? Whoa. Huh. They say iPhone only, but like, huh. All right, let's talk about this image really quick. Their art looks incredible. And it looks like right here they just started getting into mobile photography. So we'll discuss this. So one thing to keep in mind for portraits is to make your subject the most flattering, you don't want to be too low. If you're very low and close up on them, it's just kind of an unflattering angle. It can show a lot of like their chin, too much of their chin. You see up their nostrils, it's a little bit strange. So definitely be careful with that, especially if you're close up. If you're further back, you can get away with being low, but definitely keep that in mind. And let's see, I mean, there's a lot of gray, arguably too much gray. I don't know, there's nothing like super exciting about this image that gets me going. But I think the edit is kind of cool, and I like the blown out grays. It has a vibe, I'd say. But I would definitely I'd try to do something else to add a little oomph to it, you know, like maybe have a different location where it's not just trees, or something else. I don't know, but yeah, thank you so much for submitting, and try to incorporate it with this, because this is ridiculously cool. And if you combine your photography with your graphic design skills, I think you've got something going for sure. So let's go back and see what's happening in the live chat. Okay. Jordan Blake, thank you so much for the submission. I missed it until now, but yeah, everyone that's hitting me with these super chats, I really, really, really appreciate it, guys, because you know, this is sort of what I'm doing for a living. It's weird. I've got 1 more year left of college, and then after that, I'm off in the adult world. And I think I'm going to do YouTube full time, just kind of give it a stab, which is sort of what I'm doing this summer. I'm also really busy with a bunch of brand obligations, but yeah, I'll be posting way more from now on. Yeah, let's see, the Jordan Blake. One sec, guys, just pulling up some Instagrams. Hey, real quick, let me ask you guys, what do you think of the current length of this? I think an hour might be the perfect sweet spot, but I'm really not sure. So, you know, let me know if you guys think I should go shorter and shut the hell up, or talk and blab on for longer. I can always go longer. Okay. All right, we've got a very cool Instagram coming up. Oh yeah, you know, sometimes when we have beginner photographers, it's a challenge to talk about what they can and can't improve on because there's just so much. So I really like it when people are a little more advanced. We can really just appreciate good work and make little minor pointers. However, if you're wondering, you know, am I good enough to submit? There is no skill level that I won't talk about. So if you're better than me, which I'm sure some of you guys watching are, feel free to send in photos. If you've just started and you just want a few pointers, feel free to submit. And there's no judgment here. I appreciate anyone who's willing to put themselves out there. And we'll try to be respectful. No promises though. Oh, and Yahao Lu, thank you so much for the donation. All right, let's talk about Jordan's photos. Okay, the Jordan Blake. Wow. Oh man. This is so sick. I love bridges. Bridges are just guaranteed perfect leading lines. You have this perfect balance. You see what I was talking about, guys, earlier with the corners all meeting? And look, top left, top right, perfectly aligned, or very closely perfectly aligned with the top of the bridge, the hand-holding part. And then the bottom, you have the ridges of the bridge also aligning. And it's just a really well-balanced photo. And getting balance while shooting bridges is also not that hard to do. And man, this is my favorite one. This is really stands out, and someone wrote my name here, which is odd. But anyway, they clearly used a really shallow depth of field. So you have the blurry background, and the shallow depth of field looks so sick with this bridge. This is the most stunning location, and the lighting is also really cool. You have, this is beautiful. Interesting move going with the cropped. So notice how the edges don't meet here, and all these photos are sort of a little bit like these ridges. I'm pretty sure they're doing this right. Let me triple check with my Instagram. Yeah, they're totally doing this on purpose. Interesting aesthetic. Makes your feed look good. It makes the problem with that. I mean, there's a good and bad thing here. So like, I really like a feed that just works with Instagram's system and just does images that look good as squares and fills up the frame, especially because you see the most image possible. Versus here, like, you're cutting off potential images, part of the image here. You're not cutting it off. You're just showing less of it. It's smaller. But also they can now post in whatever aspect ratio they want, which is something you couldn't necessarily do if you're not cropping. So anyway, Jordan, thank you so much for submitting. You've got some really cool work, and keep it up. Okay. Woo. All right. Let's keep cruising. And yeah, I just want to say, guys, thank you so much, so much for all of these submissions in the super chat feature. You guys are really generous, and I'm flattered. I seriously am very flattered. And if I don't have the chance to review anyone who makes a super chat submission today, send me an email, and I will email review your work because you know, if you help me out, I want to help you out. I feel like I keep repeating the same lines, but that's how it is. And the one other note I want to make here is that photography and art in general is super subjective. So yeah, I'm probably going to say stuff, or probably have already said stuff that you disagree with, and I would love to, like, you know, debate photography with you guys. Unfortunately, like, I'm so caught up looking at Instagrams that it's hard to keep up with the live chat, except when I'm pulling off Instagrams to review. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm having a blast. Live streaming is just sort of like it's a rush. It's totally it's a rush. Yeah, you know, like, you think about how if I were to mess up on air, a lot of people would watch that right now. All right, anyway, let's stop being weird and review some more photos. So we've got Dominic Double Dribbles, just submitted. Thank you so much for the super chat submission, man. Really, really appreciate it. And let's see, what should we talk about? All right, let's talk about this. So, first things first, balance. The human body is naturally symmetrical, and when you frame it, center it on, it's guaranteed symmetry, which is always nice. Second, interesting crop here. Noticing how they cut it right below. You sort of see the beginning of the nose, and then right like below the belly button is where it ends in the bottom. Yeah, I mean it's a cool focus. Sometimes I question like what is the point of an image? Like what are they trying to get across here? So I'm not entirely sure there, but you know it's different for sure. And I also like that the foreground is really well lit. I mean you see the guy, and then you have this really dark background, which you know easy way for a portrait to add emphasis for your subject. So he hit all of those things really nicely. Yeah. Anyway. We're going to move on. Just take a glance at this. Interesting. I wonder if cats will pick this. Okay, interesting. I'm sensing a common theme here. I'm on people's Instagrams. That's kind of cool. Dominic, thank you so much for submitting, man. I hope I said something of marginal value for you. That's all I can really hope for these days. Let's see, who else? GV, thank you so much for the super chat submission, man, or girl. I say man too much for all genders. Yeah, let's talk about your work. And Yahao Lu, thank you so much, man. I don't see your Instagram though, so just yeah, send it to me in the live chat, and we'll talk about it. Okay. One sec, guys. Just loading up Instagrams here. Okay, we are going to talk now about GV. And for those of you who are joining me, welcome. We're reviewing photos. Pretty self-explanatory. All details are in the description. Yes. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Gabriel Luna Aguilar's photos. So it's inconsistent hope for the best and prepare for the worst. Okay. I think that's a nice, like, optimistic, realist perspective there. Alright, so this is interesting. Looks like they did a nice little long exposure to capture the stars, but my first thought is it's out of focus. The trees are out of focus, and the stars, you kind of have like a bokeh operation going on, where rather than being sharp, they're just sort of these light circles, like bokeh circles, that clearly look out of focus. So, you know, I'm not going to try and say that's like a thing to go for. Maybe they're doing this on purpose, but definitely try keeping your stars in focus. And a great way to do this is using a wide angle lens. And I go over this in my, I made an astrophotography tutorial, or star photography for beginners. If anyone wants to learn how to shoot the stars, and I go over all this, but basically the wide angle lens is a great way because you can use infinite focus, and normally it makes every photo, or everything in focus if you're focused on infinity. Everything a certain distance away from you, I mean, which is a good move. Let's see, checking in on the live chat, which is going very, very fast. Alright, so we've got about 15 more minutes, which I'm going to set that hard cap on, because otherwise my voice will not exist tomorrow or tonight. And I've got a date tonight, you know, I gotta stay on it, guys. So let's see. Let's find some more submissions. One sec, guys. Just pulling up some Instagrams. Local Fob, thank you so much for the super chat, man. I really appreciate it. And we are now going to talk about your work. One sec, guys. Just dealing with this slow streaming internet. By the way, how is the quality of the stream today? I haven't seen anyone complain about it yet, which is hopefully a good sign. Is it good audio, good video? I think I might need to invest in some better equipment. Right now, I'm just using my Mac and the default pre-installed video camera and recorder audio device, microphone. That's the word. But if I keep doing this, which I think I will because I'm really enjoying this, I think I'm going to invest in a better webcam of sort, because you guys deserve to hear my voice in all of its crystal clear raspiness. Yeah. Alright, one sec, guys. Just pulling up a few Instagrams. Claudio Gentile, thank you so much for the super chat. You guys are unbelievably supportive, and that's super cool. Nice little earnest moment there. Yeah, that's funny. I feel like I joke a lot less when I'm doing these than in my videos. And it's probably because, honestly, it's a little bit like I'm on edge right now, I don't want to mess up. And when you have a joke landing rate of maybe 20%, I can just do 5 jokes and one of them will be good in the video. Here, it's like you guys are going to realize how how questionable my sense of humor actually is. So, yeah, let's get this going again. Let's talk about Local Fob. Local Fob. Boom. Welcome to Local Fob's Instagram, and let's cruise through some of these images. All right. First thought here. This is some cool work, some interesting portraiture. Little thing I would do here. And again, I don't mean to rework someone's entire image and tell them just to do something totally different, but when you have these windows with cool colored lighting, they make for really great portraits because they light up your subject when they stand close to it. Now, when you are this far zoomed out, you get a really good taste of exactly what's happening in the scene. What I would suggest doing to make this a little more exciting is I would be really close zoomed in. So I would maybe just shoot like a stomach up photo, stomach to head, tightly cropped photo of his upper body, which will then, you don't see the entire window, and you just see this crazy blue lighting on his face that makes for a really nice dramatic effect. And this image is just super sick. Whoa. Huh. It looks like he's a little bit out of focus, but no judgment there. Otherwise, I mean, maybe not. Maybe not. He might. It looks like it's focused right around here on the brim of his hat, so not bad. Some cool snow in the background, maybe. I think that's snow. Anyway, cool stuff. Local Fob, thank you for being local on my live stream. And next Instagram we have Visuals by Cloud. Let me just see what's popping in the live chat real quick. All right, let's talk about Claudio Gentile's Instagram. Bam, no more face. Okay, so same guy in a lot of these photos, a little bit of smoke. Really, clearly a very close friend of his. Okay. This is interesting. So, sometimes when there's nothing crazy exciting to make an image stand out, I recommend just shooting with a lower aperture number to get some nice depth of field. So the background is a little bit busy. You've got a bunch of crazy stuff going on. And because they shot with a decently high aperture number, it's not that out of focus. It's actually pretty sharp, and it's distracting. The subject here is clearly the cigarette transfer, the cigarette lighting, I mean. So yeah, using a lower aperture number, 1.8 or like 2.4, 2.8. Any of those like lower numbers will help isolate the subject, the hands and the cigarette and all, from the background. It'll blur out the background a little bit, and instead of being distracting, it'll be like these cool, a little bit blurry colors, which just serve as a really nice backdrop instead of a distractor. Yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. Anyway, back to my smiling face. Hey guys. Let's see. Hey, what are you guys' thoughts on doing this every single week? Let me know in the live chat, and we'll figure it out. And we've got 9 more minutes to go, and I'm gonna try and if anyone hits me with super chats, I'll definitely review them. But for the first time, I've done all of them, so we're gonna actually get into some of the people that have just randomly submitted. We'll pull some randos off of the live chat. I wish I could do more of these, but I just want to prioritize those who are helping me out. Let's find some people. I had a few pulled up already. Let's see. Okay, here's one. Okay, we've got the Instagram of Peyton Klein. Thank you so much for submitting. This is one of those people that was actually here earlier before we even went live, and I appreciate you sticking around. So I really like this image. This is interesting. A couple things. So first, you notice on the left you have this kind of crazy blur, which looks like the burn of film. I don't know if this was film or digital that was recreated, but I want to talk here a little bit about Lightroom presets. So a lot of popular Instagrammers and YouTubers who do photo videos have their own custom Lightroom presets, where you just click a button and it suddenly gives a photo in Lightroom a very high edited certain feel, almost like an Instagram filter for Lightroom. And you can also do the same thing finding these film burns, which, if you were doing film photography, then you'd have this naturally sometimes. If you're not, you can fake it, which, it's a cool look. And it basically just puts more emphasis on the subject and the really cool tree that he's sitting on. So that's really cool. And I like how dark it is behind the tree. I don't know how they got that crazy lighting. Maybe it's all, I don't know. It's confusing lighting, but I think it's beautiful, and it really just adds focus to the subject. So super cool stuff. Thank you so much to Peyton for submitting. I'm really bad with names if you guys haven't figured that out yet. Okay. Who else wants to be reviewed? Let's cruise through the live chat. Okay. Oh man, it's going so fast. Alright, I think I found one. Oh, hey, really quick, for anyone who's new or who's old, hitting me with a thumbs up really helps. I should have said that at the beginning of this, but thumbs upping this live stream helps me reach new viewers and keeps this channel running. So that's always super appreciated. And we have, alright, let's flip it up. This is a random one I just pulled from the live chat. Beta Climber. So they've got 14,000 followers. It's kind of sick. Looks like a sweet adventure Instagram. Alright, this is the image right here. This catches my eye. And okay, so like I was saying with the lower aperture numbers, they hit it hard here. So you have this entire slack line here out of focus, but at the same time it still perfectly leads up to, I think, his wife. And another thing that I really like about this image is that the tree perfectly frames her. So she's in this nice frame. Your eyes focus exactly, it's led up and down the middle of the image from the slack line to the tree. So you really know what to focus on. The image might be on a side note, maybe this is just a personal thing, but it seems a little bit oversaturated to me, but not a huge deal. Always good to lay low on the saturation though. What I like to do personally, and everyone has their own editing style, but I like to up the vibrance but not the saturation, because the saturation can be a little bit intense. But anyway, really cool framing. And on this note, I want to talk a little bit about subjects that naturally frame themselves. So like this slacklining thing, if you line yourself up, it's going to be perfectly, balanced. And same goes for shooting bridges. Bridges are like natural frames. And on top of that, doorways are another really great thing where it's just like you naturally have a really strong frame. So keep an eye out for activities and subjects that will lend themselves to really good automatic sick photos. Definitely something to consider. Let's see what else we've got going on in the live chat. And I think I'm going to do a few more of these. Running out of time here. And for anyone that made a super chat submission, hopefully we'll be able to get to yours. But if I don't, shoot me an email and I'll critique you maybe even more thoroughly, because you've been generous to me and I'd like to return the favor. All right, so let's do 3 to 5 more of these. Okay. Woo! Man, how many? I feel like I've reviewed so many photos today. Karush Dubash, thank you so much for the super chat. Yeah, you're awesome. Everyone here is awesome. Life is awesome. The burgers that I'm about to have in 2 hours are gonna be awesome. Life things are awesome. All right, okay, we've got a sick Instagram here. Let's get this going. So, Karush Dubash, landscape photographer based in the Bay Area, and also a software engineer. And of course, the software engineer likes to get technical with his photos. I totally feel that. I'm a big technical guy. I think sometimes my subjects are but I really like to screw with the camera settings, which can make an okay photo great and a great photo fantastic. And this is a fantastic image. So, geez, look at that Milky Way. I mean, it's beautiful. The only thing, oh wow, so it's Grand Teton National Park. So okay, they stacked 2 images on top of each other for the mountains. Yet the mountains are still a little bit dark. I would have tried. Let's see. So we shot, I guess, both of these at 30 seconds, or he must have shot one for longer. The mountains are still a little bit dark, so that's the only thing I'd maybe screw around with. Shooting even longer longer exposure. Try like a minute, sometimes 2 minutes. Anything to light up those mountains. When it's super dark out, you're gonna take a really long exposure to capture these sort of things. But that's definitely the move. Man, these are all pretty sick. I think I've shot the same river in Grand Tetons. It's a beautiful place. Grand Tetons are one of my favorite U.S. national parks. Though I will say the all-time favorites are Death Valley and Glacier National Park. And on a real quick patriotic note, for those of you who are watching, who live in America or don't want to go to America, our national parks here are absolutely insane. So cool. My favorite life adventures. I've been to Iceland, and I thought I had more of an adventure in the Grand Tetons. So something to keep in mind. They're wild, but perfectly. They're just tamed enough to make it a very doable vacation. It's not too dangerous really, but it's the right amount of danger and beautiful too. The best landscape photos you're gonna take in the U.S. are gonna be in the national park. So get out there. That's my quick travel note. All right, let's do 2 more. So we've got one from Evangelia Glazou. I definitely butchered that name. I'm sorry. I'm gonna say it again. I'm sorry, Evangelia. All right. Cool. Cats and trees and flowers. Okay. Interesting. So, my thoughts on this film. Gotta give her respect. Anyone that shoots film is the man, in my opinion, or the woman. They're the person. And it's interesting. They used some cool corner tactics here. Notice in the bottom right you have the green little V sort of thing. Then you have the two circles on the far left. And at first I was going to say it messes with the frame, but now I think it just adds a little bit of intrigue. And there's also some cool coloring with like the primaries, red, blue, green sort of. Red, blue, yellow. Yeah, and then a little bit of green here. I don't know. This image is a cool feel. It's like a little simple, but simple is good sometimes. And yeah, see, all right, this is another one of those things I'd say that lent itself to really nice framing. You know, you have these nice shapes that continue to go pretty deep out, so you can have shallow depth of field and get that nice like bokeh operation back here, and beautiful sunlight hitting all this greenery here. I don't know. This is a good vibes photo. I feel very like tranquil looking at it. So yeah, good stuff. Versatile, cats, trees, versatility. Cool. Yeah. Vagels, thank you so much for submitting your shots and making me try to pronounce your name and your Instagram, which I probably did poorly. So let's do one more photo. I'm going to pull off a random one from the live chat, and then we're going to wrap this up. And all right, before I do wrap this up, I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you so much to everyone that came out today. I've had a blast, and hopefully you have too. Let's see. All right, here's one. Let's see what this Instagram is all about. Oh wow, I totally forgot to review my own photos. Is that something you guys would be interested in? If so, I might do it in the next one of these. And I think I might try and do these every Thursday at 4 p.m. I'm still sort of figuring all that out. So let me know in the live chat. And I won't be able to see everything in the live chat because it continues to go on for so fast. So I would say email me. Email me or Instagram DMs are the best way to give me feedback, which I would really, really appreciate, just so I can make this better. So yeah, definitely let me know what you thought of this, how it can be improved, what you liked, what you hated, and what made you throw up. All right, so let's do one more photo and then wrap this up for the sake of everybody. Okay. Alright, hang on guys, 1 second. We got some cool portraits lined up from I Can Capture is his Instagram name. Thank you so much for submitting, man. Wow. Alright, see, this is another one of those people that clearly knows what they're doing with the camera. Let's talk about this image. This is really cool. So, a couple things I really like about this. So first of all, the lighting is really, really nice. You have some nice soft lighting on her face. That's very even too. No real shadows even. And I think they must have shot this around golden hour, judging by the lighting. It looks great though. It looks really, really good. Another thing is they used, what kind of lens did they use? I wish they included their information here. But yeah, really nice bokeh up in this top right hand corner up here. And then they also had a bunch of greenery in the foreground that's also nice and blurry, that kind of frames up her face really nicely. So yeah, all in all, this is a really well composed portrait, and beautiful model too. So super cool stuff. I Can Capture. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. And let's go back to the face and wrap this show up. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I had fun. Hopefully you guys did too. And yeah, please send me an Instagram DM or an email letting me know what you thought of this and how it can improve. And yeah, if I didn't get to review your submission and you sent me a super chat, send me an email with your name and your Instagram, and I will get back to you as a thank you for supporting me. And yes, thank you guys so much for joining me. And check back next week, maybe Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern, maybe a regular thing. We'll see, I don't know. Thank you so much for streaming, watching, and I'll see you or stream eventually. I'm gonna go have a veggie burger.